The line between safety and individual rights is not clearly drawn. Once again, the courts may be called upon to clear up this controversy. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. Some of the most popular items every Christmas are bicycles. Tomorrow night, I'll be back with a report on bike safety so you can have both a happy and safe Christmas. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. If you'd like to avoid being taken for a ride on a used car deal, you need to know how to spot a lemon on the used car lot. When checking out a daycare center, don't spend all your time talking with the staff. Be sure to spend some time with the kids. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. Whether you put all your property in joint names to avoid probate, or have executed a trust to manage your affairs, or have simply executed a will, Valentine recommends the appointment of a durable power of attorney as a prudent planning device to avoid the expense and delay of a court-appointed guardian. With this report on You and the Law, I'm Tom Ryan. When it comes to child abductions, there's a double standard operating within the legal system. Though both a child abduction by a stranger and a parent are crimes, it's more likely that the stranger will actually go to jail rather than the parent. Nor is it likely for you to find a child abduction by the parent on the front page of the newspaper, or for that matter, the lead story on the nightly news. So it seems that we all bear some responsibility for society's failure to treat the abduction by a parent as the serious crime that it is. With this special report, I'm Tom Ryan. By just taking care of the basics around the house, you can save several $100s on your utility costs. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. You know, it'd be great if each one of you could see every one of my Consumer Reports, but I know you can't. In fact, even my mother didn't watch me when the Cardinals played in the World Series. So for those of you who have not been able to watch all of my Consumer Reports, including you, Mom, I've put together a special resource guide with all my helpful telephone numbers and addresses that I've given out over the air in the past 2 years. To get your copy of Tom Ryan's Resource Guide to Self-Help, all you have to do is write me here at the station, KPLR-TV, 4935 Lindell, St. Louis, Missouri, 63108. And stay tuned to Channel 11 in the months ahead, because I'll be back with more money-saving reports for you and your family. For Newswatch, I'm Tom Ryan. Recycling your aluminum cans is not only a great way to make some pocket change, but it's also great for the ecology. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. This report was for Halloween. Good evening, my friends. Today, unlike many centuries ago, we all have to be more health conscious about what we drink and put in our veins. If we want to live a long and healthy life, yes, a long and healthy life. Lately, I've been drinking a lot of tomato juice. In between bites, of course, and today I have some advice for you. Money. We'd all like to have more money in the bank than we currently have, but with interest rates dropping, it has become harder and harder to find a high yield for the small investor. For the next 3 nights, we'll be giving you the best advice that 3 investment firms have to offer to make the most of your money. When you have caulked the last window and added other energy conservation improvements, you not only will save money on your utility bills and feel more comfortable when the cold wind blows from the north, but also you will have added to the value of your home. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. Would you like a sun visor? 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 The VP Fair is a time for everybody to get into the act. Instead of giving out consumer information, I spent part of my day giving out Channel 11 sun visors. Reporting for Newswatch at the VP Fair, this is Tom Ryan.
credit cards. Some people can't live with them, others can't live without them. Tonight, consumer reporter Tom Ryan begins a special three-part series on consumer credit. As Tom has found, consumer credit does not have to be expensive if you know how to play your cards right.
It seems that every couple of weeks you'll find in your mailbox another solicitation from a credit card company. And if you're like most Americans, the last thing you need is another credit card. Americans are carrying about 500 million credit cards in their wallets and purses, an average of 8 cards each. Consumers take out their bank cards 4 million times a day to buy goods and services. Though 47% of credit card users pay off their credit cards each month, the rest carry a monthly balance averaging $1,100. These consumers pay a heavy price for the convenience of credit cards. In St. Louis, Commerce Bank charges 17.5% interest and requires you to have an account at the bank. Boatman's Bank has a 17.8% rate and charges a $20 annual fee. Mercantile Bank charges 19.8% interest, while Centerre Bank charges 22%. Technically, neither Mercantile nor Centerre charge annual card fees, but both banks assess a minimum interest charge each month, even if you pay your bill in full. The First Bank has become the first bank in Missouri to publicly battle the big banks on credit card interest by offering a no-fee 15% bank card with a 25-day grace period. But First Bank doesn't have the lowest interest rate in the area. Educational Employees Credit Union has a Visa or MasterCard with an interest rate of just 13.9%, though it's tied to a checking account. Credit unions are making a concerted effort to gain more credit card customers.
Credit unions that we surveyed just recently have shown that it's even a better market value today because the interest rates are going down. Many of the credit unions in the St. Louis area offering MasterCard or Visa, the rates they're charging are in the 15 to 16% range, and some of them are even charging less than that.
There is a popular misconception that credit union membership is limited to employment affiliations.
Some credit unions have charters that are geographic charters, and what that means is that the community in which the credit union resides, the people around that area, can and do belong to that credit union. So the geographic charter has to do with the area in which the credit union resides.
Two examples are the First Community Credit Union, which serves residents of Creve-Coeur and Chesterfield, and the Educational Employees Credit Union, which serves the Florissant area in 12 zip codes. To find a credit union serving your community, call the Missouri Credit Union League at 481-1200. You may be surprised to learn that you may qualify even if one of your relatives lives in the chartered area.
Hello.
Hi. Tomorrow night, I'll be back with a report to tell you who has the cheapest Visa and MasterCards in the country with an interest rate of just 11%, and how you can apply for one. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan.
Tomorrow night, Tom will tell us about a special credit card locating service that's rated over 500 credit cards to find the best for us to use. Don?
All right, thank you very much, Hollis.
When it comes to paying for your auto repairs, paying with a bank card may give you some clout you may not know about. Paying for auto repairs by check gives you little protection. Your check will clear the bank within 3 days, and if you stop payment, you can be prosecuted under Missouri law, making it a crime. If you pay your bill with a Visa or MasterCard, you are in the driver's seat. If your car was not repaired correctly, you have the right under federal law to have the charge taken off your bill.
What you're required to do first is go back to the merchant and try to resolve the dispute. You have to make that good faith effort first. If the merchant is not willing to repair the car, if that's what the dispute is, after you've made your good faith effort, then you do have the right to go back to your credit card issuer and put it in writing that you do have a dispute with this particular charge. We are obligated to credit that customer for the charge.
The Council of Better Business Bureaus has an arbitration program that can assist consumers with auto repair problems. Several manufacturers, including General Motors, AMC, Renault, Nissan, Audi, Honda, VW, and Volvo, have agreed in advance to arbitrate warranty disputes. The free arbitration service is also available for other auto repair disputes. Missouri does not have an auto repair law, but the state can take action against auto repair fraud and intentional misrepresentation, as Attorney General Bill Webster explains.
There are frauds. There are people who intentionally perform unnecessary services or intentionally misrepresent what costs are going to be. We filed a number of suits in our Consumer Protection Division for people who, for instance, said it will cost $150 to repair something. The consumer goes in, they say it costs $800, and if you don't pay me, you can't get your car. That does fall under the category of fraud, and that is the sort of thing that we consider actionable under Missouri's consumer law.
The AAA auto clubs have established a certification program for auto repair shops. Nearly 4,000 shops in 25 states, including Missouri, are participating in the program. The auto club provides continuous monitoring of the facility through special evaluation cards given to all customers and will mediate any dispute involving the repair facility and a AAA member. If you feel you've been victimized by an auto repair shop, you can bring suit in the small claims court. The small claims court will accept claims up to $1,000, and it's much like the people's court you see on TV. You don't need a lawyer, and it's a great way to get justice. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. Condominiums are a complex form of home ownership. Condominium development resembles in many ways a local government. It has the power to tax and the duty to provide services. And that means that you need to exercise special care when evaluating a condominium purchase. Missouri's condominium law protects consumers by requiring both developers and resellers to disclose pertinent information to prospective buyers. One of the key areas of disclosure involves finances. Attorney Marvin Notiff says that a purchaser should take the time to compare the budgets of a variety of developments.
Budget is important, and it's not that difficult, I think, to examine budgets and line them up and say, okay, are the reserves sufficient? And you look at the building and say, well, how old is this building? How quickly are the roofs going to have to be replaced, painting redone, roads resurfaced, that kind of thing. And you look at the budget and see if the reserves are sufficient over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. That kind of information is required, and I feel the average consumer can look at that and raise the right questions from a common sense standpoint.
Notiff warns consumers to be on the lookout for hidden fees and for developers who lowball the initial fees that will have to be raised later to pay for needed maintenance. The law provides that you may cancel your contract within 10 days of receiving the required disclosures, but it makes more sense to get the disclosures before you buy. Condominiums built before 1983 and some townhouses do not come under the condo law. So how can you protect yourself?
By asking for his organizing documents, by asking for the budget, by asking for any management agreements that are being entered into involving the developer, ask and you will receive, or if you don't, go elsewhere.
The primary purpose of Missouri's condominium law is to provide disclosure of relevant information to the buyer, rather than to regulate all aspects of condominium ownership. That means it's important for you to spend as much time looking at the legal documents as you do the physical layout of the condominium development. With this report on You and the Law, I'm Tom Ryan. If you're planning to buy a house, there's a lot better way to inspect the house you want to buy than climbing up on the roof. Hiring a professional building inspector to inspect the house you have decided to buy may add $100 to $200 to the expense of buying a home, but you'll be hiring somebody who works for you. Real estate agents, including those who represent the buyer in finding a house, have a legal obligation to get the best price for the seller who pays their commission. A good building inspector can uncover major structural problems of the foundation and reveal hidden defects in major systems of the house, such as the furnace. With a professional report in hand, you will be in a better position to negotiate adjustments with the seller before closing, or if necessary, you can back out of the deal. Larson Scott, president of Residential Inspections, explains.
We're giving them information that if there is a major problem, they'll be able to work with the seller because that information's in our report. Usually these things become a negotiation item. They are negotiated out and everybody ends up happy.
If you are planning to buy a newly constructed home, you need to carefully scrutinize the warranty that your builder provides. One of the most comprehensive warranties on the market today is the Homeowner's Warranty Program, sponsored by the Home Builders Association. It's an optional program, and not all builders have it. The HOW warranty includes a general warranty for the first year, protection against defects in major systems for the second year, and insurance against structural defects for 10 years. The Howe plan also features binding arbitration. With other warranties, you would have to hire a lawyer to sue the builder. Howe Administrator Heidi O'Gorman notes that the coverage may outlast the builder.
Not only is your builder providing you with a warranty, but he's backing that up with insurance. If the builder was no longer around to perform according to his warranty obligations, or something hindered him from doing so, we would back him up with insurance and your problems would be resolved no matter what.
According to O'Gorman, most structural problems occur in the 7th or 8th year after a house is built, so it is important to protect your long-term ownership. The Howe warranty is also transferable if you decide to sell. Whether you're planning to buy an older home or a brand new home, knowing how to protect your investment can be the key to your happiness in your new home. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. Say, sweetie, I'd like to tell you about a novel idea for some adventure and mystery where you become the main character. Instead of reading a book, home computers are now giving you the opportunity to play the leading role in fictional stories. In the Border Zone story by Infocom, you are an American behind the Iron Curtain trying to get across the border to safety. We now join the story in progress as you finally reach the guard tower just a few feet from freedom. What you decide to do now is critical.
I'm going to go ahead and climb on the brace.
Now you are standing on the brace just a few feet below the top rung of the ladder. The bottom corner of the door is just visible from your position. A quick check below confirms that you are relatively well hidden from the pacing guards.
Now I'm going to knock on the tower door.
You've made enough noise to attract the guard's attention. He fires a warning shot, alerting the other guards, who rapidly approach with their weapons drawn. You have been arrested.
So we've got arrested. So what happens
So we've
here?
got arrested. So we're having a problem getting into the tower.
Okay.
That's where we got arrested, is in the tower. So I'll cursor down to how to get in the tower, and I'll hit return. And it'll give me hints. Did you try knocking on the door? Well, that doesn't mean you should just be standing there with a stupid look on your face. Check out the brace. You can get on it. Then try knocking on the door. No, we're not pulling your leg. That's all, folks.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to leave you now, trapped behind the Iron Curtain. Chuck Portwood of Babbage's Software says interactive fiction provides a new realm of experience.
It provides a new dimension in that you become the character. You're not just reading about something. You actually are that person, and you actually decide how the stories will end, how the events that take place, how you'll interact with the characters, the things that you'll use in the story. You decide all of that because you're the central character. So, yeah, it makes it much more enjoyable than just sitting down and reading a book.
For less than $35, you can enter the world of interactive fiction. With this Consumer Report, I'm Tom Ryan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tom Ryan, Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate. You're probably wondering, what's a nice guy like me taking on a nice guy like Jack Danforth to unseat him in the United States Senate? Well, I'll tell you, Jack Danforth may be a nice guy, but he doesn't represent the people of Missouri very well. In fact, he acts more like the third senator from Texas than the junior senator from Missouri. He continually votes with the oil industry. He voted for decontrol, which is double people's utility bill, and even voted to put an oil industry lawyer to head the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which accounts for about 80% of people's utility bills. And I've spent about 10 years in the consumer movement in Missouri, and I think I know the alienation and the sense of powerlessness that people have at the grassroots, and I think I could do a much better job representing the average Missourian than Jack Danforth, who I think has been a big business senator. I think that the fundamental question that we need to ask is really who runs this country. And it's not the people, and the people know that. And if you take a look at the polls, you'll find that over 78% of the people believe that government is run for a few big interests. 62% of the people feel alienated and powerless with respect to their government. And 57% of the people do not feel they have any say about what government does. And 59% of the people do not believe that public officials care much about what they think. I think this shows a crisis in our democracy that most politicians are unwilling to admit, because they are part of the power structure. And I think that we are not going to be able to fundamentally deal with this question of alienation and powerlessness and frustration with government unless we can get some average citizens like myself who are not part of the present power structure, not part of the present political process, but are newcomers that have new ideas and have new energies, and who basically will be interested in taking these frustrations of the average voter within the halls of Congress of the United States. Because if we take a look at some of the major economic and energy and tax policies of this country, we see that big business is the dominant shaping force in many of these policies. Economic policy. Currently, we have record small business bankruptcies. We have farmers who are being devastated by rising interest rates and rising farm costs and falling farm income. We've got home mortgages, record foreclosures. We've got consumers who can't buy homes because of record interest rates. We've got workers who have been thrown out of work because business can't expand as a result of the strangling of the economic lifeblood, which is access to capital at reasonable rates.
Dealers.
Since I was 4 years old, I've been able to make spoons bend using only the power of my mind. It's no trick. Like I always say, things aren't always what they seem. Take Edie's Grand Light. It seems to be regular ice cream, but it's a lot lower in calories, all natural, and 93% fat-free. You have to try it. All you need is a spoon.
We're back. Buying a new car is the second most expensive purchase you're likely to make in your lifetime.
That's right, and yet few people have the needed skills like me, perhaps, to go toe-to-toe with a veteran car salesman.
Well, joining us now is our consumer reporter, Tom Ryan, with a special three-part series on how to buy a car. Tom?
Thanks, Hollis and Don, for this late-night edition of Consumer Reporting. Sticker prices on new car windows are largely a fiction. Few people actually pay the sticker price for a new car. What you pay depends on how well you can negotiate a good deal. Americans have had a love affair with the automobile ever since Henry Ford made car owning affordable. But with car prices well over $10,000 for many cars, it has become more important than ever for consumers to learn the tricks of the trade.
Would certainly make life easier if we could go in and the car says $15,000. You say, fine, here's my check for $15,000, and you're done. But it's kind of a game in the fact that they're going to sell you the price, they're going to sell you the car for whatever price they can get out of it.
There are a few simple rules to getting a good deal on a car, yet surprisingly, most people don't bother to learn them and end up paying hundreds of dollars more than they should. First, never fall in love with a particular car. You'll lose your objectivity, which could be costly. Second, don't make the mistake of negotiating from the sticker price down. Take the time to learn the dealer's cost and the markups involved in creating the sticker price.
You can expect, anywhere from, depending on the size car, the amount of the car, I would say anywhere from 5 to a 15% markup.
By simply making a trip to the local library, you can find out the dealer cost of any car you want and any of its options in the Kelley Blue Book. You can also get a computer printout of car prices, showing you the dealer's actual cost and the suggested retail price. Many credit unions offer the invoice pricing service free of charge to attract more loan business. Consumer Reports, which has an excellent report on all the 1989 cars, makes the dealer prices available for an $11 charge. Today, car manufacturers are taking some of the hassle out of negotiating the price for popular options. Certain options are prepackaged with the vehicle, and they come with a substantial discount already marked on the window sticker price. Another way to limit costly errors in negotiating a new car deal is to buy an advertised special with a deep discount already taken off the sticker price.
Anytime you see an advertised car, you can be sure that the package discount is taken out. Mostly, if not all, of the dealer's markup is taken out to get people into the dealership. But as I said, if they want that car, they can walk in. All the all the negotiation is done, they can walk in and feel comfortable about it.
But be careful. Dealers often stock cars with many high-priced options that you may not need or want.
If you get a great deal on a car, but you've gotten 6 options that have cost you an extra $2,000 that you didn't really need or don't even care to have, that's not a very good deal for you.
Another important rule is to keep the negotiations on the price of the car separate from the negotiations on your trade-in. Check with the used car pricing guides at the library to assess your car's value. You'll get more money if you sell your car privately. The last rule is to compare financing alternatives with several sources and to run the numbers as to whether a rebate with a conventional loan is better than one of the promotional rates offered by the car companies. One last bit of advice from the pros: never be afraid to walk away from a deal.
I would advise them to feel comfortable with the person they're dealing with, and if they don't, I turn around and walk out.
If you would like to learn more about negotiating a new car deal, you can pick up a book by Darrell Parrish called The Car Buyer's Art: How to Beat the Salesman at His Own Game. Mr. Parrish is a former car salesman and has some good advice for anyone interested in buying a new car.
All right, Tom, explain something. Many of us have probably seen those ads touting a new car for $48 or $100 over the invoice price. It's a little difficult to believe that that's all the dealership's going to make on that transaction.
Well, he's actually going to make some more money. There's a thing called a holdback allowance, and this applies to domestic makes. If a car is sold, let's say, for invoiced at $10,000, the dealer will get a holdback allowance equal to about 3% of the car's invoice cost. So if a person spends $200 over invoice, the dealer will get another $300 on that $10,000 car, which will be a profit of about $500. Now, he also will get a profit from arranging your financing, selling you dealer packs like fabric protection, rust proofing, and all the other things that he can sell you. So if you want to hold on to your wallet, you've got to know what you're doing before you walk into the car dealership.
Okay, some good advice. We'll look forward to part 2 tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. And speaking of money matters, Don?
All right, thank you. Let's talk about money matters, shall we? Here now is the Wall Street Business.
To me, Christmas has always been a time to do something special for somebody else. And one year, I decided to give away my car to a needy family. The car had 128,000 miles on it, but it was in great shape. And I knew that somebody could get a couple more years' use out of it. So I donated it to a Christmas agency. And they chose a woman who had just completed a job training program and just got her first job and had a couple of kids and didn't have any transportation. And when I delivered the car to her and gave her the keys, she was overjoyed. Well, what made this very special to me was over a year later, I saw the woman and her kids driving down the street. And the feeling inside that I had at that time was, well, it was Christmas all over again. But we had a large house with a 12-foot ceiling, so we always had one of the largest trees in the neighborhood, and that was always special around our house because kids from the neighborhood come over and look at our tree and all the decorations, and it was just a great fun time to be around the Ryan family home. I hope everybody has fun over the holidays, but don't drink and drive. Let's have a safe one.
A holiday reminder from all of us at Channel 11. Happy holidays.